Here, in case you forgot by the way, you and me, we're on a mission to visit every single one of Scotland's 84 remaining patches of Caledonian forest. Today, we're on episode 3 and we are in Coille, Coilic. In previous episodes we learned about how the Caledonian forest on Scotland's west coast actually falls just within our hyper-oceanic zone, which means that technically these Caledonian pinewoods are part of Scotland's rainforest, right? Now obviously that's amazing, and we are going to have a wee walk around the woodland and try and spot these kind of oceanic influences on these pinewoods. But also I do want to talk to you about something a bit more serious, because Scotland's broken land ownership system is responsible for the retreat of this pinewood in particular. Coille, Coilic was first recognised as a potential site of special scientific interest all the way back in 1955, and in the years following many advocated for the creation of fenced enclosures to reduce grazing pressure. But it wasn't until 20 years later, in 1974, that it officially became a site of special scientific interest and the first fences here were erected. Now, one of the biggest issues threatening the Caledonian forest is overgrazing, and as we have learned when we visited Derry and Glenfoire, Scotland's deer population is out of control and they're eating the Caledonian forest before it has a chance to naturally regenerate. However, when it comes to Coille, Coilic, it's not just the deer that are doing the overgrazing, but it's these wee fellas as well. In fact, just 10 years ago it was recorded that there was twice as many sheep as deer in this area. Now though, we don't really have a crystal clear picture of how many sheep there are within this area, and that's because the local landowners are refusing to share that information with the national park. Now that's because once they talk about that with the national park, because the national park is of course a public body, that information could be obtained through a simple freedom of information request. Now, what is even more mental, right, is not only do we not have a clear picture of sheep numbers in this pinewood because landlords are refusing to share that information, but the sheep industry is actually subsidised in areas like this by the Scottish taxpayer through something called the Scottish Upland Sheep Support Scheme. Now, this actually means that we, the taxpayer, are in a ridiculous situation where on the one hand, we are funding the national park to protect our environment, to protect our Caledonian forest, and on the other hand, we are subsidising landowners to allow their sheep to graze our battered remains of the Caledonian forest. Make it make sense. Literally, we're the USA here, we're doing both sides, it's a proxy war. As you can see on the eastern side of this pinewood, grazing pressure is far too high.